Tastes like Peru. Tastes like Peru. Okay, y'all, I'm here in Lima, Peru, and I gotta tell you, I've had a really good 2 weeks here. This is my second time in Lima, and I've discovered so much. So I thought I'd put together a video to tell you all about my experiences in Lima, and maybe to give you some advice if you're planning a trip, what to watch out for. You know, a lot of people, and maybe this is you, a lot of people who plan a trip to Peru, they just skip Lima entirely. Or maybe they fly in for a night, they stay at the airport, and then they get on with their trips. And look, I understand why. Like, a lot of the best things to do in Peru, they're up in the mountains. They're in Cusco, they're going in the Andes. We're going there tomorrow and I'm really excited for that. I've been there before. That is some of the best parts of Peru. But I'm here to persuade you, hopefully watch this whole video and hopefully I'll persuade you to at least spend a couple nights to discover Lima. Because you know, I think a lot of people think of Lima as like some small secondary city or something, but it's not. It has a population of over 10 million people, which means it's roughly the same size as London or Paris. And it has so much to do. I'm telling y'all, I have had such a great time. I have walked over this city so much. I've gotten so many steps in. In fact, I have explored so much on my feet that I got an ingrown toenail. And I actually had to go to the podiatrist here in Peru, which let me tell you, that's a bit of experience. It was actually pretty good. Only $50, which if you're used to the American healthcare system, is really quite the deal. And they got me all fixed up and I'm hobbling a little bit, but I'm doing good. But I think that really is one of the best things about Lima is that it's a city of neighborhoods. And I'm going to talk about 4 neighborhoods that really are the ones where most tourists should spend most of your time. But there's just so much to do to walk around. You see here behind me, this is Miraflores. So Miraflores is the first neighborhood and it's really, I think, it's really where you should stay. Most tourists should probably stay in Miraflores. I've got a guide to where to stay in Lima. If you're trying to pick a hotel, go to travellemming.com or search where to stay in Lima, Travel Lemming, and you can find that guide and it's got lots of written information that can help you to plan your trip. But really the short of it is stay in Miraflores. It's a really big coastal seaside neighborhood. Behind me, you see the Pacific Ocean, and although you can't see it because it's blocked by these buildings, what's really remarkable about Miraflores are the cliffs of Miraflores. So these are these giant cliffs that run all along the coastline of Lima, and a huge stretch of that is the neighborhood of Miraflores. And they have this wonderful boardwalk. They call it a malecón in Spanish. And it's basically just a boardwalk that runs all along the tops of the cliff. And then the cliffs just like cascade down to the sea. There's a highway that runs along the sea, and then there are pebble beaches in front of that. Best thing to do in Lima, the best thing to do is to just go for a walk along the Miraflores Malecón. And I'm telling y'all, however long you think you've walked along it, keep walking because it just keeps going. Some of the major sites are, they've got a park called Love Park that has a statue of a couple folks kissing. You will find a glass bridge that connects it to Barranco, and you walk along that bridge. This is a newer bridge. The center of it, you're actually walking over glass, which that was really fun. You can stop and you can watch surfers below. So that you'll see surfers that are surfing down below you. Just stop for a bit, watch those. You can go and watch as well. You can watch paragliders. So that's really cool. On a nice day like today, maybe we'll get some behind me. I don't see any right now, but the paragliders, I see them, but they're out of frame. Maybe they'll come back in here. But, you know, they're paragliders that go up and down this whole area. And it's really fun to just stop and watch them. You can keep walking along the boardwalk, though, and it's such a lovely view. The sound of the waves is really intense because it's a pebble beach. It's not a sand beach. So as the waves come up, they pull all these pebbles down. And just the sheer mechanical motion of that generates this roar that even up on the cliffs, you can hear that. So that's really the coolest thing, and the main reason why I recommend Miraflores, in addition to the fact that it's very tourist friendly, is that you have this awesome stretch where you can just walk along the Malecón. In addition to that, in central Miraflores, you'll find a park called John F. Kennedy Park, and that's near a central cathedral. You'll find some fairs there. There are a lot of cats. Like if you look around, you'll find cats, and some of them have these like little cat homes that have been made out for them. In the nearby park, you can find artists who are painting, and it's really pretty. I highly recommend going for a walk in the middle there. Miraflores has lots of restaurants, lots of bars. It's generally very clean, very, very walkable. Again, this is the place to stay. There are tons of hotels here. I'm here in the Hilton Lima Miraflores, which is wonderful. I'm gonna do another review of that. But you've got hotels for every budget in Miraflores. It's one of the safest areas, so really it's the best place to stay for tourists. Another important site in Miraflores we gotta talk about is the Huaca Poclana Pyramid. So this is it's a pyramid that was built by pre-Inca society, and they made it by pressing together adobe into these like little bricks. And you can really, they don't even do any mortar or anything. They just like stacked up the bricks to build this giant pyramid. And you can go and you can take a tour of this pyramid. Clara and I did it yesterday. The only way to go for that one is on a guided tour. And they take you in, a guide will give you some of the history of how the pyramid was built. They have little statues that kind of show you how they made the adobe bricks. You do get to walk to the top of the pyramid. It's very fragile. And for that reason, you have to go with a group. Apparently, during the initial excavation in the 1960s, like they found this thing and there were people like doing motocross practicing on it. And so that's obviously not good for the structural stability of an archaeological site like this. But anyway, it's an interesting tour. You do have to go with a guide though. So I'm gonna tell you a bit about another one that you can visit, another pyramid that you can go without a guide and there's almost no tourists there. But it's so cool to see these pyramids like in the middle of the city and you're just surrounded by the city of Lima. So those are kind of the main things I think within Miraflores itself. A couple other quick things. You got a shopping mall called the Larcomar Shopping Mall, which is right along that boardwalk. That's really cool. They had it all lit up for Christmas when we were there. The Amano Pre-Columbian Textile Museum, gorgeous collection of textiles, and also they've got some nice paintings there. Really, Peru has a ton of museums if you like museums, but I would say Miraflores is really the no-brainer place to stay. However, it's not actually where most of the attractions are. And this is the thing that I've learned over my time here in Lima, which is that the Centro Histórico is actually where you'll find most of the attractions, but I wouldn't recommend staying there. One, there's not that many hotels. It's loud, it's gritty, and there are a bit of safety issues in the evening, to be honest with you. But you've got to visit there because that's where you'll find the central old Spanish plaza. You've got the Metropolitan Cathedral, which lords over that. When we visited, this is currently December, so it's like all lit up for Christmas. The Peruvians love Christmas. If you're a Christmas fan, this is a great place to celebrate because everything's all lit up and very merry and there's Christmas music everywhere. But anyway, in that square, you've got this giant Metropolitan Cathedral, these really old buildings, gorgeous Spanish colonial architecture. There's actually some catacombs that you can go visit. They don't let you take video inside, so I couldn't get video for y'all of the actual catacombs. They're smaller than like the ones in Paris, but you can go and see them. Here's a little tip for you. One of the favorite things that we did that I thought was really cool was walking into the Peruvian House of Literature. It's within the central area of Centro Histórico, just up to the north. And it's just a library. It's just a library, but it's got a really beautiful glass stained ceiling on it and you can get some awesome photos. So highly recommend the Peruvian House of Literature. Also, if you want a place to grab a drink or have some food with beautiful views over the square, check out the Terraza Lima Club. Clara went and said that it has like just incredible views because you're right up over there and you've got views over the cathedral. We tried to go like the next day and they wouldn't let me in because she was dressed well enough, but I wasn't. So you're not allowed to have jeans or tennis shoes. And I had my travel Lemming shirt on, wouldn't let me in. So you'll see some reviews complaining about it, but apparently it has the best views in Centro Histórico. Just be sure to dress up. There are a couple other places around Centro Histórico that you can check out. There's Plaza San Martin. That's got more government buildings. Again, lots of really good architecture. And then during the evening, just south of Centro Histórico, you've got the Magic Water Park. And this is actually a place that's really fun to go. It's a bit more of a local experience. Like 99% of the people there are Peruvian families and it gets packed. It's just a bunch of fountains and they've also got like fair rides and it's just sort of a general sort of like amusement park set around water. Some of the water exhibits, you can actually walk underneath water that's like going over your head, and I'll put a video up of me doing it and getting wet, telling Clara to come catch me. But it's really fun. A couple tips for you though. when you go to there, the line to get in front is crazy out front. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's not it's dark, it's at night. It'll feel like it's not the safest part of town. You'll be fine, but there will be people who will try to sell you slots in line to like cut the line, and then they'll like cut in front of the locals to let you in for a few souls. They are not official. There are signs once you get in saying to ignore those folks, but of course by that point you've already passed those people. The line moves fast. It looks really long, but it moves really fast. It only costs 5 souls, so it's like less than $2 to get in. I think it's a fun experience. If you only have a night or two, it might not be worth it, but it's a good thing to do in Lima at night. So that's the Centro Histórico. Again, I think that's a good place to spend a lot of your time. I wouldn't necessarily stay there. Got 2 more neighborhoods that I want to go over for you. Real quickly, just to the south of us here. Sorry, I don't know if you're picking that up, but one thing about Peru, about Lima, is the traffic noise is wild here. I've never seen a place where people like to honk as much as they can. What was I saying? I'm gonna take a sip of Inca Cola here before we get going again. So Inca Cola, really interesting. It's like made by the Coca-Cola company, but you find it everywhere here. Anywhere you find Coca-Cola, they're gonna have Inca Cola. It tastes a little bit like Big Red. If we've got any Texas fans out there, let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. I don't know. Give it a try when you come here. They've got the sugar-free version as well, so I've been drinking that. Okay, where were we? So, south of Miraflores is the neighborhood of Barranco. Clara's taught me Spanish for 5 years, and I still can't roll my R's. But just south of here is Barranco. It's a smaller neighborhood. It's a more historic neighborhood. It's got older buildings. You've got a central plaza. It's a really nice place to kind of walk around. The main attraction here is what's called the Bridge of Sighs. So this is a bridge that's really old. It's like 150 years old, something like that. And it's known as a place it's got a lot of mythology around it. It's known as a place for lovers to gather. A lot of people have different sort of stories about how it got its name. Below the bridge, you'll find artists, you'll find cafes. That whole area is very artsy. Barranco is just a very artsy neighborhood. It's a nice place to walk around and kind of experience that Bohemian artsy vibe. Barranco also has a small stretch of Malecon where you can watch some surfers. It's very small compared to the front with Miraflores, but you can walk there over that glass bridge that I talked about. And I think overall, Barranco is a really nice neighborhood to spend like an afternoon in. There are not as many hotels there if you're looking for a place to stay. There are a couple hostels, a few apartment rentals, but it's a smaller neighborhood just to the south. Like I said, worth exploring. They've got a lot of nice restaurants and things there as well. And then let's talk lastly about my second favorite neighborhood after Miraflores, which is San Isidro. So San Isidro is just to the north of Miraflores. It is a much more upscale neighborhood. It has a lot of modern construction. It's similar to Miraflores, a little quieter, a little bit more residential, a little fancier. The one downside that San Isidro compared to Miraflores has is it doesn't have as much of a boardwalk. There's the Bicentennial Park. It has a little bit of a stretch along the cliffs there, but otherwise most of the boardwalk is in Miraflores. San Isidro, though, has a couple really cool things. First off, it's got the Huaca Pyramid. So as I mentioned earlier about Huaca, this is a different pyramid. It's smaller than Huaca, but it's a very important pyramid as well. And unlike Huaca in Miraflores, at Huaca, you just pay 5 souls to get in. When we went, we actually initially, a funny story, we walk up and we thought it was closed, but a security guy came and he opened the gates. We were the only people there. It was really cool though. I mean, this site is it is really old, and you can walk up to the top. We had it entirely to ourselves, and you see all these hotels and apartment buildings that are just around you. Like, I don't know anywhere else in the world other than Cairo where you can be on a pyramid and have the city like right in front of you. So I thought that was really cool, and it doesn't seem like a lot of tourists know about it. So look up Huaca. Hope I said that right. And then from there, a short walk away is El Olivar de San Isidro. This is a park that is filled with olive trees. Like, it's got a ton of olive trees, and then it's got a pond in the middle. We had a lot of fun walking around there. Clara loved watching all the animals. You've got turtles, you've got koi fish, you've got these like cranes or egrets that are playing around, and it's just all a general generally very beautiful space. There's a hotel near there called the Sinesta Hotel. I highly recommend that hotel for its location. It's got this beautiful rooftop that looks out over the Olive Park. I think if you're looking for a quieter place to stay that doesn't have some of the noise that we have here in Miraflores, that might be a good option. San Isidro also has a lot of cafes, restaurants, other things there. And so those are kind of my top 4 neighborhoods. Again, I've got that guide on Travel Lemming, Where to Stay in Lima Travel Lemming. Just look that up, find our guide, help you pick the perfect spot for you, but you should spend most of your time in those 4 neighborhoods. That said, Lima is actually much bigger. It's got many more neighborhoods. Many of those aren't ones I would recommend for a tourist because, there are some parts that it's a safe city. It's safer than people think, but there are some parts that you might not want to stay in. And there just isn't as much tourist infrastructure, but there are some other places you want to visit and some other sites that you want to explore. The number one site that I haven't mentioned is the Larco Museum. Lima has so many amazing museums, y'all. It's incredible how many amazing museums it has. But if you only have time for one, go to the Larco Museum. So the Larco Museum has a collection of pre-Columbian artifacts. It's small. It's set in like an old villa-style colonial structure. And the exhibits are pretty small, but they're really impressive. They've got a lot of really old pre-Columbian artifacts. You've got pottery, you've got masks, you've got all sorts of different stuff. And then the other really cool thing about it is that they actually open up their storage. So, many museums, this was something that I've learned, but many museums have like a reserves where they just have a ton of stuff that's not on display. And usually that's closed to the public, but not at the Larco Museum. They let you inside to their storage. And it's actually incredible because the storage, it's like thousands upon thousands of different clay sculptures and pottery and different artifacts that they have. And you're wandering through it, it's like a library. There's like as many artifacts as there are books. And so that's a really cool experience. The building itself is actually gorgeous. Up out in front is an awesome place to take photos. If you go around sunset, there's all these roses and flowers up in front. It's just absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend going there right around sunset, 5 o'clock or so that you have about an hour of light to take those photos. Then in front, there's a restaurant. That restaurant is it's a fancy restaurant. So you could go to the museum right before they close, I think around 7, then maybe go have a dinner there. There's one more exhibit downstairs. They have an erotic exhibit, and it's erotic. Like, it features a bunch of pre-Columbian sort of artifacts that are definitely erotic. I'll put a few up on the screen. Hopefully won't get censored by YouTube. But it was kind of a surprise after you go through this otherwise very serious museum, and then they're like, "Oh, have you been to our erotic exhibit?" But worth going. Larco Museum, if you only have time for one museum, go to that museum. Another one that we went to yesterday that I highly recommend, although it's far outside of the city, is the Museo del Oro y Armas, which is gold and arms. And that's what they have on the top floor. So first off, to get there, it's like 30 minutes outside of the city. You can take an Uber. Ubers are really good for getting around in Lima, by the way. There's a bus system if you're really on a budget, but the Ubers are fast, quick, and pretty cheap. So you can take an Uber there. It takes about 30 minutes from Miraflores. It's a beautiful building set up on the side of the city along some hills. And then you walk in and they've got just this incredible exhibition of military items. So they've got like the armor from Knights in Shining Armor. They've got samurai swords. They've got a ton of guns. They've got knives. They've got a cannon. They have all sorts of different military paraphernalia. And if you are someone in your group who really likes military history, I think they're going to love that part of it. Then you go downstairs. And downstairs is where they keep all the gold. And they make you, by the way, you've got to bring your ID when you go to this museum because they make you take your ID. I think because just to make sure nobody takes anything. Because downstairs really is a ton of gold. Ton of different gold jewelry, different gold artifacts. They've got some bigger masks and setups. One of the rooms is cold because I guess some of the gold needs to be kept in a colder temperature in order to maintain it. It takes a little bit to go to that museum. It's a bit out of the way, but really worth it. That was the Museo del Oro y Armas. All right, so those I think are our favorite things that we've done here. A couple other things to think about. The food. A lot of people, food is one of the big reasons that they come to Lima. It's really famed for its ceviche because, of course, we're right by the ocean here. There's other Peruvian dishes, a lot of pork, a lot of meat. I'm vegetarian, so I'm not necessarily the best person to tell you about that, but you can go look that stuff up. There's tons of restaurants, particularly in Miraflores and also in San Isidro, that you can go check out. They've got one that's a famous one that's down on the water on the pier. It's expensive and you have to reserve far and ahead. There's another one called Rafael that's here in Miraflores that you might check out. That is the top rated restaurant by my friend Nathan of Foodie Flashpacker. He is much more into eating meat and seafood, so I would go with his recommendations. Day trips. So Lima is set in the middle of a desert. It's a desert city, which is why it's so dry. You actually get 0 days of rain a year here, which is really interesting. Like if you look at the weather chart for Lima, it says 0 days of rain for pretty much every month. And you'll get a little bit of like mist in the morning and then it'll burn off and be nice and sunny like this most of the time. So in the surrounding desert, you can go out and you can take some day trips around there. The main ones are Huacachina, which are these like sand dunes, and then Paracas, which is a beach area. You can go and visit some sea lions down there. I haven't done that because there's so much to do in Lima. I think you need a couple extra days. Also, I think you could go stay down in Paracas if that's what you were looking to do, but that is something to consider. So that's basically a summary of my stay here in Lima. I've really enjoyed it. Couple quick tips for you before you go. First, money. So the Peruvian money is called a sol, S-O-L. And so this here is 10 sols, which is about a little less than $3 or about $3. About $1 equals roughly 3 sols. When you are paying here with credit card, this is something very important to pay attention to. It will pop up with a little thing that asks, do you want to pay in USD if you're from the US, or do you want to pay in Peruvian sols? You almost always want to pay in Peruvian sols because that USD exchange rate, they're going to end up charging like an additional 8, 9, 10%. So little tip there, be sure to pay in sols. A couple other things to consider. When you're picking where to stay, it's really loud here. People, they love to honk their horns here. I mean, I don't think I've seen anywhere outside of India where there's such a culture of honking your horns. In San Isidro, you'll find signs saying, hey, please don't honk, and yet people still honk. So if you're noise sensitive like I am, try to pick a hotel that's not on a main street and to ask them for a room on the backside. We're staying here in the Hilton, Lima Miraflores. It's been pretty decent, although you can hear some of the traffic noise up front here. So just something to consider if you're sensitive to noise. This is South America. This is a busy city. Additionally, traffic. This city sometimes you can whip around the city real fast if there's no traffic, but other times it can take double or longer because it is 10 million people. Everyone's trying to get through the roads. So you need to plan some time to get around. And then the last thing I'll say is, spend as much time in Lima as you can. Like I said at the beginning, I know a lot of people skip it. There's a lot cooler stuff up in the Andes. And I get it. Lima's not the #1 destination in Peru. But still, for a couple days, if you only have, I would say at least 2 to 3 nights, but let's say you had 2 days, I would say come here, do the Miraflores boardwalk, go to the Centro Histórico, look around there, visit the Larco Museum, try some ceviche, maybe check out a few of the other sites that I've mentioned. I think you'll have a really good time. I think it's a fun place to explore, and it's a nice counterbalance to Cusco and the Andes, which is a very different experience. I've been before. We're going to be going, by the way. Clara and I are leaving tomorrow. We're going to spend a couple weeks up there. We like to spend a lot of time visiting places so that we can write detailed guides for you on Travel Lemming to help you plan your trips. So we're going to spend several weeks. We're going to move around to several different hotels in Cusco. We'll do Machu Picchu. We'll go to the Sacred Valley. And I'll do videos and I'll have guides to all of that we'll put in wherever the right place is. By the way, I'm Nate. My site's called Travel Lemming. We are a travel website. We're 100% human content. You know, these days it's getting really hard with AI, folks. If you listen to the end, just give me one more minute. It is getting really hard for us human creators to make a living online because these giant platforms, including this one I'm posting this video on, like to promote AI content that effectively replaces us. So if you want your content from human creators, it'd be great if you could come support us. We have a network of locals in cities around the world and around particularly the United States and Europe. If you're traveling anywhere, put Travel Lemming at the end of your search and we probably have a guide, or go to travellemming.com. And again, we really appreciate you. It's hard out here for human creators, so we appreciate your support. So with that, go ahead and like and subscribe, and be sure to check out this video next. All right, I gotta Inca Cola's getting a little warm. This is not the kind of color that you want to see of something that's warm in the sun, I guess, huh? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go get a cold one.